What's up, guys? It's Kadir Stonks back with another video, and today I'm gonna go over um all the things that I'm tracking with these stocks on my journey to becoming pretty self-independent. I am sort of self-independent right now, but I mean independent in the parts of just not having to like really rely on others I guess maybe sort of alerts on these stocks and just be on my own and work on my own, like the way I trade and how I like to trade and different patterns and things that fit for me. And you guys should do the same thing too. So here we are on Finviz. We go to the top percent gainers and we just identify certain patterns that we would we like and that occur often and every little maybe small detail about them. So here's my pattern tracker on my Google Sheets, which I have. Uh, it goes over the pattern, as you can see right here. The ticker, which is right here. Ignore the shares and average price. This one, ignore it for now. And ignore most of this part, actually. From the cost basis to shares, gain and loss percentage to here. Just ignore that. That's not really needed. That one is if you actually, I guess, were considering to trade it or anything like that. I particularly focus on float, the market cap, sectors, and any news that the stock had. That's pretty volume as well as news, which I put in the last section. But that's pretty much the heavy set of what I look into, more or less. And let's go. Let's do our first one, NAOV. Get rid of these. So as you can see, this is a first green day, big first green day, as you can see. Multi-year breakout of resistance right here. Back here, traded 170 million shares. And today, how much it traded? 113 million. But the older I get, I don't want to say the older the resistance. So this is almost a year old. It's not that old. It's not even a year actually. It's like 6 months old. This is pretty significant. But let's look at the float as well. The float is 21 million. I'm pretty sure the float, most of the people in here that have entered or whatever have gotten out here, as well as other places throughout this whole period. And the float is pretty. The float is not little, it's not light, but it is pretty small. Market cap is 64 million, and I would consider this pattern a multi-year breakout. Yeah, multi-year breakout. NAOV. I'll put the ticker in here. NAOV. Multi. Breakout. And then I'll have the intraday of what happened. So intraday F1, F2, F3. If you guys follow, I guess, have followed other like traders and that are successful in this business, like Tim Sykes, Stephen Duggs. One of them is Foose, Cameron Foose. I took his course, and I kind of like the way he went about the stocks intraday. He was more in depth on the intraday compared to other traders. They would not tell you exactly how to trade it intraday. They'd go over the daily on how it's supposed to be traded, but that's not a sponsor for it, his course or anything. But yeah, I just, and it's on top of that, it's the way he went about it, it was way more parallel and for me in being successful trading these stocks, especially intraday, because we're not buying these stocks right at the open and holding it throughout the entire day. So NAOV, I go through it, 64 million market cap. That's a small stock in Wall Street. Float is 21 mil. And then we just go over here, 21 mil. This traded 7/24/21 Friday. Market cap was 64 mil. Healthcare As you can see, a lot of these stocks that are runners and tend to be in the healthcare technology sector, especially healthcare now, since everyone's racing to find either some sort of you know protection from COVID or a some sort of high illness, trying to find any product or medicine to curate that, and it helps these stocks. Um, news. So it didn't have news on the 24th. It had news on the 23rd. The news was stock triples in very active trading after upbeat report on UTI treatment. So treatments are like pretty much, I guess, they tested whatever medicine they were doing or product. So treatment with urinary tract infection. The stock was after the company pointed out. Great reporting on product. I just put a small great reporting on medical stuff because it doesn't really for now. It could be anything, It's not really. And then after that, we just put in the volume. And the volume traded was 113 million shares. Exit out of that. 113 now. And then consistent and individual resistance. That's more of from Stephen Ducks because he went over like in his course, I think it was Duxinator or one of them. He went over like in depth about how volume is pretty important in stock trading. It's pretty. That's what we that's what you're gonna consider into entering stock. If the stock has enough positives and volume for it to break through resistance, etc. And if there's areas of resistance which there's heavy volume, like this was one of them. 177 million shares traded on December 2nd, gapped up pretty huge. This one it didn't gap up, which I kind of liked. I didn't trade it at all because this one I think was end of day. It was an end of day play, and I traded something else. Yeah. Volume, if it traded at 500,000 shares on average, it does not have a what you call a consistent volume. So it's individual. And so this is how I would go about tracking patterns. And last but not least, I just go on bigcharts.com and just look at the intraday. As you can see, intraday, morning, afternoon, nothing, no action. End of day, this is sort of like I guess I'll consider this an F3 pattern. It's because even though it's not really an F3 pattern because it didn't pick up volume in the morning and just slowly consolidate and slowly make higher lows and break out. It just picked up volume at the end of the day, probably because the news came out or anything, something like that. Yeah. Then I just keep going. I'll go through each one that fits a specific pattern. It has to meet a specific pattern. This I would not put on my list. Neither will this go on it. Neither will this. This perhaps it would NRXP, but it is a little bit higher price and the volatility is really not there, but it does fit a pattern. It's a second green day. I like it. I'll put it up. NRXP, second green day, vote. $7 million float, but the shares outstanding is 47 million, as you can see. So there's a lot of insiders holding it probably. and trading it whenever I can up the stock. 1 billion market cap. It's up there now. This is pretty significant. I don't like trading stocks that are up in the billions in the market cap, but it's is that's more important. And in Wall Street, I mean, it's great for the bigger the stock, the more Wall Street people would hold up the stock. So any shorting of this stock, it's going to be harder and tougher to short because Wall Street wants bigger, stocks to do, companies to do well. Sort of, especially if you're at certain levels. July 22nd, successful commercial formulation enabling volume. That's on the 22nd, so that's this day, I think. Yep, that's this day. So I'll probably note formulation of enabling volume. And then wait, let me see. Is this the 24th? Oh, okay, this is the 23rd. So let me change. There will be mistakes. What was the news again? XP. This is the 22nd actually. The news is on the 22nd, so it's previous day. Pharmaceutical commercial formulation enabling volume manufacture, shipping, and stockpiling. New patent. Okay, I'll just in here I just put press release good manufacture of product probably volume on the stock 57 million on it 7 mil, and last but not least average volume 2 million. That's consistent resistance, so I consider that's consistent. So as you can see, like any place that traded to like this whole thing would act as sort of resistance. As you can see, it bounced off this area which acted as support. That's significant. This probably this area would probably be another area of resistance, and anywhere around these consolidation levels would act as resistance. So and this then resistance. And then I'll just go on XP. As you can see, morning open, it gapped up, so gapped up. Went red on the day, sort of made a bottom, came back, sort of consolidated and took a long time for it to come back. I'd say this is more of a, I don't know, red to green. This one's a bit choppier too. I don't like these type of moves where there's no clear level. You could say this is a inverted head and shoulders. You can see the left shoulder, the head, right shoulder. Yeah, I'll put an inverted head shoulder. Inverted head shoulder. Next on our list, and on top of that, I would add any stocks that are good to short. SCKT will look at it. For it to be good to short, I've considered like areas of where it would be able to short. Like right here, it's not bad actually. Shorting into major resistance right here. But if it had positive news, let's see. Well, solid second quarter results. Solid second quarter results. Float short float is 2%. Let's see. I like to also look at the intraday, what it did for it to be a solid short. It ran up. If it's, I mean, had a morning, I guess route. Okay, just dumped. Okay, it's not. I wouldn't include this because it's no clear. No clear. There's nothing clear about that short. It just gapped up and just got hammered down. XBIO, I would include this because I traded this and we got a profit from it. Even though I could have traded it better. Yeah. In this journey, we're just trying to improve our trading very much. Like that's primary. Because you can always increase the amount you go into the stock with the amount of shares. But your trading plan will always be consistent of how you plan it out to be. XBIO, I'd say this is a I mean, it is a multi-month breakout. Yeah, multi-month breakout. It's not bad. Multi-month breakout. I'd say that. Kind of looks like the first game day. It looks like a lot of things. Multi-month breakout. Float, I think it was 8 million float, 24 market cap. Yeah. So this is a really small stock in Wall Street, like very small. I believe it's healthcare as well. See, there's a consistency about healthcare. So if you really wanted to swing trade something or even look into something to trade for the long term, seems like healthcare would be a good thing to swing for a week. A stock in healthcare, as long as you can find, great risk reward and looking at other aspects, maybe news or SEC filings or anything upcoming for the stock. News on the stock, XBIO, I had news, I believe. Nope, no news. Okay, that's why I was kind of hesitant to trade this on, or hesitant to trade it where I saw it. And if it had no news, I just put not unapplicable, volume equals 100 and 300 million shares. Wow, 300 mil individual resistance. Individual resistance. Let me go over that. So if a stock has individual resistance, that means over the however much time period that it was trading, especially if it's a low float, that resistance area becomes there's only like maybe there's not many areas of resistance on the daily. So it can easily break out if volume is to come and people are to trade the stock. And if it's consistent, then there's levels of resistance packed in, and you have to take that into consideration. So it didn't have news, but having low float, small market cap, and a ton of volume, it was great. It was it's a great trade. It could be a great trade for long, I'd say. F1, you caught this right here as a F1. I mean, you consider this F2 as well, but yeah. CIO, that's it. Anything else? Ooh, MDGS. Let's see. It's a gap up. 150 million shares traded. Don't have the float, so you probably have to check the SEC statements. Small market cap. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure I would what pattern this would be if I would have traded. It's a gap up, gap in. Yeah, very, very choppy as you can see. Morning open, spikes up, dumps, spikes up, dumps. But it's making higher lows, lower highs. It's kind of gets squeezed, and then volume just slowly dissipates as well. And then just, yeah, okay. It gives back all of its gains and sort of just comes back down. Yeah, I wouldn't include this. It's too choppy. I don't like it. Too much areas of um, resistance. A core, not I mean, not volatile enough. I don't like when a stock is not that volatile. I don't like to trade it. AACG. Let's see. This kind of does look like a. Let's see. This one I look for it. Yeah, multi-week breakout. Nice, nice. I think low volume though. Look, 2 million volume. It's ridiculously low, but this could be a nice swing and coming into the next couple weeks. As you can see in its history, it can gap up and run like from what is this, 4 all the way as high as 19. That is a lot. AACG. I'd include it. Float. Float on the stock was 8 million. 7, 23, 21. I believe 7/23/21 was Friday. I might be wrong. Yep, it was Friday. 161 million market cap. Pretty good. It's not crazy good. It's not crazy high. It's a great. It's where you want. Our range would be anywhere from 10 million to like maybe around 500 million. Not anything above that. That's when it's just like the volatility sort of decreases maybe. But the eyes, the I guess people wanting to look into the stock increases because most people are going to be in that like sort of seeing this stock for a longer period rather than a short term trade. Also sector, consumer defensive. No news on that day either. So volume I believe is 2 mil, and individual resistance. I just track it like that. Usually after the first, I guess, page on Finviz, it starts to look, the percent change becomes smaller and the volatility is like less, and the stocks look more like this right here. Maybe a short would not be that bad, maybe potentially, but it is a slow grind. It's not like I don't know about shorting this because it is a slow grind up. And look at the float, 500,000. Volume is slow, lowish snap. Yeah, you could short it, but there isn't really much area of resistance as you can see. Maybe it gets these little wicks. You can use it as stop losses and short into it, and if it breaks, cut out. Yeah, there's not much after this first page. That's it. Becomes higher price. Wow, look at this one. See like you could like swing these like right here, this breakout. You're risking the low of this, plus if we tested that area. Wow, look at this. You just have to hold it for 1 month, and you would have made what is it? Probably like 100%, maybe even over 100% on return. Yeah, one from literally the 30th. You could say from the beginning of the year, one from the 20s all the way to 100. But if you were to trade it like May, this would have been not a bad trade. You were swinging right. Um, Yeah, I don't want to go into too depths about swinging stocks. For me personally, um, I don't like swinging stocks. I kind of am not that patient, as well as um, not. It's not that I'm not patient. It's just other aspects of it. It's like, okay, if I swing this stock, I gotta look at it every day, and I have to adjust my plans sort of according to what occurred on that day, or even anything, volume, any news. Um, yeah, it's the same ideas in trading it intraday. It's just that you even if it looks perfect, you can be wrong because of any random thing. It just might not be that stock to go. Yeah, and swing trading it doesn't really, you know, there's not that same I guess rush to it, and other aspects of like maybe PE ratio, earnings per share, insider ownership, short float percentage, total shares outstanding come into play. Yeah, and so that's all it for today, guys. Thank you guys for listening. Yeah, this was a different type of thing because today is a weekend, and this is what I do after maybe each day if I can find the right patterns that might be in my trade to track. I mean, stock. Yeah, patterns to track. Yeah, see, I don't know if I would include. Yeah, I wouldn't include this AACG. I wouldn't include it, even though it is multi-week breakout. The volume is ridiculously low. I wouldn't include it. Too many volume is not enough. I don't think so. Yeah, I'm gonna delete it. Even though it is a multi-week breakout, it's more of a swing maybe, but this on the intraday, this is what swing trading looks like if you wanted to see. Because if you start swing trading stocks that look great on the daily, but the volume is low and there's no eyes on it, that's the most important thing about these stocks is volume. Volume is really what helps drive these stocks onto new levels. And if there isn't that, then you just wait, you're just sort of waiting for time or for somebody to make hype come about, you know. So yeah, I've been rambling on and on for quite a minute. Thank you guys for listening. Till next time, clear stocks. Peace.